All right, y'all. So, this is the political rant, and if you have any affection for establishment Democrats and Republicans, you're probably not going to like what I have to say, so feel free to go on to another video. I'm fine with that. Everybody's friends here. But if at this point you're still here, I'm hoping it's because you're just the slightest bit, I don't know, interested in the fact that the establishment is literally weaponizing the coronavirus against its own voters. Yes, that happened. On my birthday, March 17th, 2020, our motherfucking delightful DNC held, 3 state elections, including one in Florida. Everybody wanted to talk about the stupid, young kids out there doing their spring break thing. But holding elections and closing down most of the polls, making the lines longer and the people have to stand closer together in unventilated fucking spaces. That was cool. That's fine. I personally feel like Tom Perez and the DNC people on the state level who made decisions to do that. Every person who can prove they voted and then caught the coronavirus, each one should be a charge, if they die, of reckless homicide. Same goes for Trump. Because what the DNC did was reckless homicide. They weaponized a very contagious, very deadly, pandemic level disease and threw it at the voters so no one would go out to vote. I mean, could you imagine the outrage there would be on cable news, in the fucking streets, everywhere, if Republicans did that to Democrats? And there should be. Like, that's something that should be considered fucking insane. But there was nothing. No backlash from it whatsoever on the mainstream media channels. Oh my god. The shit they are getting away with in this primary, you can see right there that they're no better than the fucking Republicans. Why, you might ask? Well, they all work for the same motherfucking people, and guess what, y'all? It ain't us. Never has been. And until we get real people in there who are really interested in our well-being, it's never gonna be. And then, when, after telling us over and over and over and over and over again, oh, you can't have Medicare for all. There's no money for that. They go and give trillions, with a T, trillions of dollars to goddamn corporations to bail them out, and sit and cry and whine over the little crumbs that they gave all of us. If y'all think you got a good deal, then you might want to go look and watch Bernie's live streams for the past, month, and see what he wanted for us. He wanted about the same amount of money, only he wanted it all to go to us, except for a little bit set aside for corporations on the stipulation that they did not fire any of their employees or drop their health insurance. There were no stipulations. Unless you're a small business. Then, if you're getting the money, there's strings attached to it. But the corporations, literally, you can see the bigger they are, the fewer strings there are attached to that money. Like, I really thought that would fucking set people off. Like, do we have amnesia? What happened in 2008 when good old fucking Joe Biden, thought it was a great idea to give all that money to the banks and the goddamn mortgage companies? Oh yeah, I remember what happened. Millions of Americans lost their goddamn homes, while the banks and the mortgage companies ran away with everybody's fucking money. You know, the ones who caused the mess. See, that's the thing right there. They keep causing these fucking messes, and literally bankrupting their own fucking companies to give more and more and more to the shareholders and the CEOs. And first of all, how much fucking money does one person need? In my opinion, if you have enough money in your bank account, your personal fucking bank account, to end world hunger and have billions with a B left over, you got too much goddamn money. Something ain't right there. We have the biggest homeless crisis we've ever faced in this country. People, oh my God, I saw the saddest fucking video yesterday of all these homeless people in San Francisco. Homeless people, they have nowhere to go, trying to practice social distancing, because what the fuck else are they gonna do? Let me tell you what they're gonna do. They're gonna lay in the street and die. And our government don't give a fuck. The only person who's brought up homeless people at all is Bernie Sanders. You know, the unelectable one, the one that doesn't have Alzheimer's, the one that actually has plans to help all of us. Like, gee, I wonder why the media, who's owned by corporations just like most of our government, just keeps slamming him. What is it, I wonder, about him that they don't like? And in my opinion, he needs to quit fucking with the DNC. Because if he keeps playing this little game, here's the reality of the situation. In 2016, Hillary was statistically, on every single level, a much better candidate than Joe Biden is right now. Do we have President Clinton? No, we don't. Because American people are fed the fuck up. And to sit there and watch them, every once in a while they'll say, oh yeah, well, the COVID-19 treatment should be free. So let's get this straight. You get pneumonia from COVID-19 and you don't go bankrupt. But you get regular pneumonia and have to stay in the hospital and have to go bankrupt because you can't afford it. Does that make sense to you? Because they keep saying that shit. People like Joy Reid, people like Joe Biden. But yet I've yet to hear them come up with a justification for that. I can tell you Joe Biden's justification. He's been paid by Big Pharma for decades. It's that simple. He literally said, if he were president and any type of single-payer system came to his desk having been voted on and agreed upon by our House and our Senate, he would veto it. I mean, is that what you want to hear right now? While you're sitting there and you're thinking about the fact that there's a chance you just lost your job. There's a chance that with that job went any pittance of health insurance you had. And if you get sick with this or anything else, you're going to lose everything. So is that really what you want to hear from a candidate? You know that in Kansas, when they did their primary like 3 weeks ago, there were only 16 machines to vote on, or 16 polling places for the entire state. The whole fucking state. You know, in Kansas City, Missouri, they have done so much voter purging that the mayor had to re-register and come back later that night because they purged the mayor, who's voted in 12 elections at that same place, including 3 times for a selfie. Specified that in the tweet. They purged him from the list. I'm sure it has nothing to do with the fact that he's a black man, because it's not like, statistically speaking, they purge people of color way more than white people. Oh, and I'm sure it's also just, you know, a happy fucking coincidence that most polling places are conveniently located near, you know, affluent areas. Because as Joe Biden pointed out, rich white women The ones with money, they know who they are, and that's why they like him. If you missed that part of the debate, I'm sure you can look it up. He literally said that. That's what he thinks of us. We're shit to him. Cogs in the goddamn machine. And that's what they all think of us. This ain't just a Joe Biden problem. That's what they all think of us. If you are a regular American sitting there listening to this, wondering, how the fuck am I going to pay my rent since the rent freeze Bernie Sanders wanted, he did not get? How the fuck am I going to pay my electricity and my gas since, Bernie wanted that taken care of too, but he didn't get that either. How am I going to live until this is over? Just know, it's because you don't know who you are. If you did, you'd support Joe Biden and you'd be rich. Aren't you sick of it? I will not vote for Joe Biden. And either will millions of other people, especially people in my generation. Sorry, Joe, we don't have no empathy for you, buddy. Let's not forget, he's the reason we have the school-to-prison pipeline. He's the reason that everybody my age and younger can't fucking even live because of student loan debt. He's also, by his support of Big Pharma, the reason why my whole generation got fucked up on drugs, so that they could then send him to the private prisons that he still gets money from the corporations that own the private prisons, although I'm sure that had nothing to do with the 1994 crime bill. No. Oh, and let's not forget, look it up, there is a charge of sexual assault against him right now that the media refuses to report on. The only people reporting on it are news outlets for the left. And the Me Too movement is apparently partially chaired, I believe, by someone who's one of his campaign managers. So the Me Too movement wouldn't touch it either, because they're a nonprofit, and that might mess with their nonprofit status if he becomes president. What was the point of the Me Too movement again? Because last I checked, it was supposed to be to help women against powerful men who take advantage of that power. But apparently not. Apparently we need to start another one that don't fucking discriminate. Because I'm here to tell you, first of all, if I had seen video of Bernie Sanders touching women and little girls, if you can't find it, I have it public on my Facebook page. Go look. It's a nice little montage of Joe Biden touching women and little girls as little as River, who was trying to get away from him, trying to hide with her mommy, and he just kept following her and touching her. If I saw that out of Bernie Sanders, that's a wrap, buddy. I don't give a fuck. That's a wrap. But then we're going to sit and on top of that, run our mouths about a woman who Joe Biden sexually assaulted in 1993 when she was one of his staffers. A woman who told multiple people about this sexual assault in the early 90s. I guess she got in a time machine, to just make it up. But nobody's hearing this story because corporations own the media. The corporations own the government. They're all owned by corporations. And Bernie Sanders is trying to help regular people fight back against the corporations. Gee, I wonder why The View don't like him, or anyone on CNN, or anyone on MSNBC. The sad part is, and this makes me sick to say it, but it's fucking true, every single thing Donald Trump has said about the way the DNC is handling Bernie Sanders, it's true. It's accurate. Fucking heart attack inducing shit right there. I don't know why he can't be that accurate with, a response to the global pandemic. But Donald Trump seems to be the only politician that's acknowledging and telling the truth about the way that the DNC is blatantly rigging this goddamn primary. And I just, like I said, I thought the shit they pulled on my birthday. Zeus, can you give me a minute, buddy? Lay down for a minute, because I'm almost done. You know how he is. If he's not interrupting the video, he's not having fun. I thought that the shit that they pulled on my birthday with making people vote in states that were basically under quarantine or were literally under quarantine, I thought that would have people pretty riled up. Crickets. I get there's a pandemic, but there's also the fact that there is no way in hell that Joe Biden, regular Joe Biden, would have got elected with his record and the way he talks about regular working class people and the policies he has enacted against my generation and the generation after it. There's no fucking way he would ever win. And then on top of that, you add obvious Alzheimer's. Like, I took care of my grandfather while he was dying from Alzheimer's. I know what it looks like. When he does, and dude, I hate the motherfucker. I hate every policy he's supported. I hate what he stands for. But he's still a human being. And to sit there and see that they're parading him around when he clearly should be at home, spending whatever time he has left before he's completely gone mentally with his family, and his wife is complicit in it? What the fuck is wrong with her, dude? They're not his friends. They're not his loved ones. Obviously, they don't give a fuck. When he does the blank stare like no one's home, it's because no one is. When he gets all apologetic, I don't know why, that's the thing that comes along with Alzheimer's. They get in states where they think they're doing something wrong. And you can watch them like just shrivel up and go back inside themselves. And that is horrendous. Who treats a fucking human being like that? Now, see, he was able to clean up his actual legacy when it came to the actual bills he fought for, including the war in Iraq. He was able to clean that up by hiding behind Obama. And any good Obama was able to do, despite Joe and the establishment. Don't ever forget, Obama ran on universal health care. That's who he was to begin with. And then they got Joe Biden in there to tell him knock it the fuck off. Anyway, he was able to hide behind Obama, who of course was preceded by Trump. So Obama, in fact, Bush was starting to look good. Like, we done forgot how horrendous that motherfucker is, because at least he ain't Donald Trump. But the thing is, that's not going to get people out to vote. There are only 20% of Americans saying they're very excited about Biden. That means the other 80%, if it's raining, if they don't feel good, if, I don't know, a pandemic is coming back because it's fall, they're not going to come out. Compare his numbers to Bernie Sanders' numbers, and you'd have to be blind or a fucking idiot to tell me Bernie's the one who's not electable. Can you imagine how much better off we would be right now if he were president when this happened? Hell, you don't have to imagine it. Just look at Denmark. Just look at Switzerland, Sweden. Look at all of them. My hand gestures. The fucking first thing they all did, one, they have universal health care, so they didn't have to worry about that part. And it's crazy, they're the ones that seem to have enough equipment for their hospitals and their people. Meanwhile, we do not. But anyway, could it be that the spread of a pandemic is bad for the country, maybe? Anyway, the first thing they did was make sure that they took care of their people. They only gave money to help corporations, get along. As long as those corporations continued to pay their workers as if they were working. That makes sense. That's how a bailout's supposed to work. We're fronting the bill, and their CEOs probably just made a fucking fortune off of it. How Boeing was threatening the government and got what the fuck they wanted. They more or less said, if you don't give us this money with no strings attached, we're just going to go make warplanes for Russia. To which my response would be, bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Have fun with that. Straight up. But that works for them. Because, that's right, they're a co-owner in our government. Aren't you sick of it? Not only that, if we're going to continue fronting the bill for the horrendous financial decisions these goddamn rich people make with their goddamn corporations, shouldn't we get stock in it or something? I mean, we're paying into their company that has fuck all to do with us. Because if you think the stock market is what actually indicates how the economy is doing, I don't know, the stock market's been high the past few years. How y'all doing? I'm just saying. Are you able to spend money and put money in the economy? Another thing rich people do not fucking do. Are you able to live comfortably? I mean, minimum wage was literally designed to be a living wage, meaning when the cost of living goes up, therefore the goddamn minimum wage is supposed to go up. But y'all are quarantined, right? Well, look up how much the cost of living has gone up since the last time there was a change in wages. That is what you should be paying attention to when it comes to the economy, goddammit. The stock market don't have a fucking thing to do with us at all. That's why when it crashed in 1929, it was rich motherfuckers throwing themselves off buildings. The only thing that really directly impacts us with that is, of course, that companies that close can't hire people. But we're at a point right now where people are working 3 and 4 jobs just to survive and still can't survive. Like, you know, that's what we had unions for, and that's what we had union policies for, and our ancestors fought mighty fucking hard to have those unions. I know. I come from coal miners. It was really hard to get those workers' rights. Sometimes there was even bloodshed. It was horrible. But then they got them. And then, the generation before mine completely let them take it all away. They did. Hey, do y'all remember when waitresses had to be paid minimum wage and they actually made pretty good money from their tips and shit and was able to live fairly well with just the one job, even if they were single moms? Y'all remember that? Remember the 90s? Yeah, I do too. Shame corporations own our goddamn country now, and waitresses can't even get the minimum wage anymore because they made that, you know, legal to just, fuck it. They don't need that non-functioning fucking living wage anyway, right? Like, every single path that poor people had to something better is gone. You can't only have a high school diploma and go work as a waitress, because you could get paid $4 fucking dollars. And if you have a bad night on tips, you ain't gonna be able to make your rent money. I can tell you that right now. We can't go to college. Or rather, we can. They love it when we do, because then we have to pay student loan debt back for the rest of our goddamn lives. Unless we win the lottery. Meanwhile, Jeff Bezos, who could end world hunger and have billions with a B left over, thinks that we should pay him to hire new employees. Bear in mind, him and Amazon pay either no taxes or virtually no taxes, depending on the year. Are you fucking kidding me? Okay. I'm going to make this prediction right here, right now, for the 2 of you who are watching. There's no way more than 2 people will be watching this, but that's alright. This is the platform I've got. I need to use it. If Bernie does not run independent, or we don't fight like hell to keep the DNC from robbing us of the one person who will take care of us during this pandemic. Because even if it subsides, it's gonna come back. We know that. And guess what? In 18 months, when they... Oh my god, I get so heated. Sorry, I'm gonna smoke again, because that's what I should be doing when I have gunk all in my face. Anyway, when the vaccine is developed, I hope you don't think that you're gonna have access to it, do you? I mean, cancer medicine and HIV/AIDS medicines are literally the most expensive medicines that you can have, because, you know, if you don't take them, you die. And let's not even get started on something as basic as insulin and how people die every day trying to ration it out because they cannot afford it in this country. That vaccine will be sought after and wanted by people. Therefore, I make a prediction that if we do not have Bernie Sanders as our president when they have their little vaccine, people will not have access to it unless they are rich. They're going to make it so Medicaid won't pay for it. They're going to make it so Medicare won't pay for it. And it's going to be one of, if not the most expensive medication you can get. So there's my prediction. Let's not forget, you remember the little squirrely looking piece of shit who bought the company that manufactured that medication for AIDS that people need to survive, and he jacked up the price, what was it, like 10,000%? That's what they're going to do, buddy. On top of the fact that if you get it and you're in the hospital, good luck being bankrupt. But remember, we can't have Medicare for all because we can't afford it. Because we're too busy paying people like Jeff Bezos and Boeing. Aren't you sick yet? Aren't you fucking tired of it? Because God knows I am. Every single policy Bernie pushes for and has pushed for all of his life, every single one of them would have protected us a hell of a lot more when this pandemic hit. We would be in much greater shape because, like I told Tony when they talked about the first cases hitting here, I said it is going to sweep through this country like wildfire. You got people who can't take off work because if they do, they can't eat. And then you combine that with a medical system that is so expensive, people go bankrupt for having to be in the hospital. People ain't gonna go to the hospital. Like, that's a goddamn recipe for disaster. And one that Bernie Sanders had all the answers to all along. But people are going to sit there and let the mainstream media, who gets paid by the guys he wants to charge the taxes to, tell him that he's not electable. There was even a goddamn headline in the New York Times, you can look it up, where the way they worded it basically made it sound like Bernie's policies were, like, he was happy for the coronavirus because his policies were relevant now. What the fuck are you talking about? But they can't just come out and say, Jesus Christ, Bernie Sanders was right, we'd be in much better shape with his policies. That's not the gig. They can't do that. So they have to spin it and spin it and spin it and make shit up when all else fails. Bernie Sanders is sexist. Meanwhile, they're sitting there supporting the guy who treats women and little girls like inanimate objects and touches them wherever and whenever. Fucking perfect strangers. And we got video of it. Video after video after video after video. Years of it. But remember, y'all, Bernie's the sexist. I'm sorry that this was so ranty, but I'm so mad and I'm so tired. And I genuinely cannot believe that more people aren't mad and tired enough. Now, I will say, there are starting to be workers organizing. Of course, they're getting fired because, again, we have no goddamn unions anymore. None that are strong and can actually function as they should. Because they've all been busted up thanks to the likes of, well, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell. And when they sit there and they act like they're on opposite sides of the fence, that's a bullshit ass lie. It's a bullshit lie. That's why Nancy Pelosi, the Democrat, was the one who wanted to make it so that people who earned only, you could not get any part of the stimulus package if you earn less than $50,000 a year, which is frankly most of us. And she's a Democrat, y'all. It's time either for an overhaul completely of the Democratic Party, which, as someone who's a registered lifelong Democrat, I would love to see that. Or we need our own goddamn party. The Working People's Party. Something. Because this ain't working. And so help me God, if Bernie just lets them take it from him, like, God, I know he's tired. He's been fighting the fucking system for over 50 years. He's gotta be tired. But we need him now more than ever. Because if you think you would have got those little crumbs that they sprinkled for us, if it was an election year with Bernie Sanders running, you're out of your goddamn mind. That is the only reason you got what you got. And again, if you think you got a pretty good deal, sorry, we live next to a semi place. It was the truck hooking up to the trailer. But if you think you got a pretty good deal, please go watch the live streams Bernie has done for the past month and see what he wanted for all of us. We got nothing. Then you got Trump. He's so cute. He's just hilarious. On Twitter, talking about how 90% of the bill was good and 10% made him mad. So he's saying the part that they gave the corporations was great, but the part they gave you sorry fuckers who vote for him, nah, that pissed him off. That's what he's saying. We got about 10% of it. So, remind me again why poor people vote for a billionaire. Oh yeah, because the Democratic Party gives them no other option. I remember now. I'm just tired of all of it. I'm tired of all of it. And if they don't quit the bullshit with the primaries, I feel like Bernie has a goddamn responsibility since he put himself in this race. And he really does fight for all of us. And he's the only one running for president, fighting for us. I think he has a responsibility to run independent. Because I guarantee by November, when the pandemic has subsided and then crashed back into us again, and we're still not equipped, and we're still not paying people's fucking medical bills, and we're still not making corporations we handed trillions to keep their employees, and everybody's broke and homeless and hungry, I guarantee they'll go vote for Bernie. This is a fucking disaster, unlike anything we've ever seen. And with Alzheimer's ridden Biden, one, there's no way he's gonna win the election. That's not a thing. It's not gonna happen. Y'all need to get that the fuck out your heads. You watch clips of him try to string together a fucking coherent thought. What, you think Trump's not gonna point that out? Bernie thinks this son of a bitch is his friend. He's not his friend, by the way. He smears him all over the place. Let's fucking Hillary Clinton go out as a spokesperson for him and talk about how everybody hates Bernie. I tell you what, if the establishment hates Bernie, they might want to think that maybe that's why we love him. Maybe. Anyway, Biden would do the same goddamn things that they did. I just realized that ceiling fan makes it look like I have a cool hat on. Anyway, he would do the exact same things. He would hand all the money to the corporations. He probably wouldn't have thought of us at all. He sure wouldn't be on a live stream begging people to consider the homeless and the poor, because he don't give a fuck. You are there to be exploited. That's what they all think, and that's what they all do. Then you got Trump, who he don't give a fuck as long as he's making money off of it. One way or the other, he's making money off of it. That's all he cares about. Pelosi and Schumer ain't no better. They're not. They are all, here, read my lips, they are all on the same fucking side, and it ain't ours, buddy. Seriously. And I'm gonna fucking blow your minds here, but have you ever considered that maybe the Democrats don't mind having 4 more years of Donald Trump? Because they get their tax breaks, and the corporations they serve get their tax breaks, and we're suffering, but they don't give a fuck about that anyway. So has it ever considered, or ever crossed your mind, that maybe, just maybe, they see the real fight with Bernie Sanders, and they don't care if Joe Biden loses to Trump, as long as he does not lose to Bernie Sanders? I mean, if you're in quarantine, by all means, man, dig up information. Don't listen to cable news. Like, you can find articles, you can find plenty of videos, whatever it is you want to know about the bullshit primary that has not, it's been ran just like they're Republicans, or the candidates, or whatever. Look it up. Find it out. Please don't listen to cable news. Because again, they serve the same masters our government does. And it ain't us. Okay? Anyway, if you made it through the whole 37 minutes of this, then I hope maybe I changed your mind on something, or sparked an idea, or just made you look at things just a little bit differently, because this is life or death for us. As bad of a situation as we were in 6 months ago, and it was bad. Worst homeless crisis of our lives. People can't fucking feed their kids. Like, again, people working 3 and 4 jobs and still cannot live in the richest country in the world, where we all actually have to pay our taxes. As bad as that was, thanks to coronavirus, this just got a whole of a hell lot worse. That's another thing. Check out Bernie's live streams. He has had them for like a month now, talking about COVID-19. Half of the ideas that Biden goes out and tries to string together are actually Bernie's ideas. And then, of course, there's the brilliant, well, COVID-19 treatment should be paid for, but not anything else. Don't pay for pneumonia caused by just regular old pneumonia. Why would you do that? That don't work. That don't work. Give me a break. Seems to be working just fine for all of Europe. They seem to be doing much better than we are. Their doctors and nurses even have masks. Mind blown. I mean, please, we cannot waste this opportunity. Because, as y'all may or may not know, I am obsessed with history. I have been all of my life. I have read all different, sorts of things pertaining to history. My novels are always historical fiction. Like, I love me some history, right? I've seen this all before. And I'm telling you now, just like if you go back to my Facebook page and the shit I was posting this time in 2016, I said, we are at a crossroads. And we will either have Bernie Sanders and positive change, or we're going to have Donald Trump. And people thought I was crazy. Like, oh, shut the fuck up. There's no way. How did I know that? It was 1968 all over again. Wasn't hard to gauge it. And I'm telling y'all now, let me make this prediction. We will either have the revolution the peaceful way, which is what I want with all of my heart. I want the DNC to go fuck itself somewhere. Either because people rose up or because Bernie was like, fuck you, I'm going independent. But we're either going to have Bernie Sanders or we're going to have 4 more years of Donald Trump during a pandemic. And considering the fact that good old Nancy Pelosi, good old Chuck Schumer, Mitch McConnell, Donald Trump, they might as well be French aristocrats looking at the starving people of Paris going, let them eat cake. That's what they've done to us over and over and over again. To the tune now of trillions of dollars. That benefits us not one bit. And then they had the audacity to sit and cry about giving people a few $100s extra. Sit and cry. I mean, for us, it's life or death. For them, it's more wealth than you can fucking spend in your entire life. In 4 or 5 fucking lives in Bezos' case. And tax breaks. Our lives. Hell, look at how they were all trying to get y'all to go back to work. They don't give a fuck about us. So if we don't start giving a fuck about ourselves and each other and quit letting them divide us based on stupid shit, we're doomed. And I know for a fucking fact, there are many, many, many people who have said outright that even though they voted for Donald Trump in 2016, it was because they wanted the change. He lied. And they would vote for Bernie Sanders in a heartbeat. That's called electability. That's called uniting people. That's Bernie Sanders. And if we let them take this from us, because I'm here to tell you, power does not just relinquish to regular people. That's not how that happens. We have to fight for it. And this is the part where we fight. This is the part where our grandkids reading the history book, they didn't let the fucking DNC get away with it, and they fought back. Or Bernie went independent and won by a fucking landslide in November. Whatever, however it happens. I'm really hoping that it goes that route. Because it's either going to be peaceful or there's going to be fucking bloodshed. And I don't want that. And none of y'all do either. So let's fight now while we've still got time. Okay? Please. Please. We've got to think of something. And all of us come together and say, no, you are not robbing us of our chance to have someone in that White House actually representing us. You're not going to do it. So, can we put our heads together? I know y'all are very, the 2 people who made it this far. You're very smart people. You're very hardworking people. And you are strong people. And I love you all. And we need to think of something to make sure our one chance at a peaceful revolution is not stolen right out of our hands. Alright? Stay safe, y'all. Stay inside. Wash your hands. Bring it home with Baby Bumblebee. Do the whole song. Get in there. I love you guys.